I'd like to call the order of the meeting of the Planning and Economic Development Committee for March 6, 2023. Please note the deputy clerk has taken roll and we have a quorum. First on the agenda is the approval of minutes from the January 2nd, 2023 meeting. Do I have a motion and a second, please?
So be.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Trickey and a second by Mrs. Bailey. Is there any discussion or additions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Minutes have been approved. Next, I present ordinance 13-23, variance for freestanding sign height regulations, 8304 North 2nd Street. May I have a motion and a second, please?
So made.
Second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Bailey and a second by Trustee Beck. We have staff report, please.
Yes, thank you. This is a variance asking for a taller sign at Taco John's. The sign would be in its current location. The base of this proposed sign would be conforming. The electronic message board portion of this proposed sign would comply with all of our regulations. The total sign area would not be too large. This is only a variance for the height that they're seeking. Our code limits these types of signs to be no more than 10 feet tall. This proposed sign would be 18 feet tall, which is actually shorter than the gas station signs on either side of this property. Staff recommends approval of this variance, although there's no hardship that necessitates the need for a taller sign here. We find that it would not cause any danger or detriment to the surroundings, and the Planning and Zoning Commission voted to recommend approval as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions or discussions? Is the applicant present, would like to address the committee? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ordinance 13-23 will go to the March 20th board meeting with a positive recommendation. Next is ordinance 14-23, a special use permit for outdoor storage in light industrial district, 1152 Turret Drive. May I have a motion and a second, please?
So be.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Trickey and a second by Mrs. Bailey. Could I have staff report, please? And we will do 14-23 and 15-23 together.
Yes, I'll report on those both
Thank you.
together. This applicant was already granted a special use permit for outdoor storage at this property in October of 2021. That use expired after not being established within a year. Now he's seeking the same special use permit again, but this time he's also applied for a variance from the requirement that the storage area be entirely enclosed with solid fencing. He proposes using solid fencing to the west and the north of the storage area, but along the west, the east and the north of the storage area, but along the west and the south sides of the lot where it abuts vacant and farmland, he would like to only use chain link fencing. Just as before, staff is recommending approval of the special use permit with 3 standard conditions of approval. And staff is also recommending approval of the variance. We feel it is not outrageous, unreasonable to use chain link fencing on the 2 sides where he proposes using it. Also note that the outdoor storage area is only planned for a portion of this lot, but the fencing is planned to go around the entire perimeter of the property, so the storage would not be right up against the chain link fence. So we are recommending approval of this variance with 3 standard conditions of approval. The Planning and Zoning Commission voted to recommend approval of both the special use permit with conditions and the variance with conditions, and the applicant is present this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any questions or discussions? Seeing none, would the applicant like to address the committee?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, thank you. So all in favor of ordinance 14-23, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So ordinance 14-23 will go to the March 20th board meeting with a positive recommendation. Next is ordinance 15-23, a variance from solid fencing requirements for outdoor storage, 1152 Turret Drive. May I have a motion and a second, please?
So made. Second.
Have a motion by trustee Kidd and a second by trustee Beck. Is there any discussion? We had staff report. Is there any discussions or questions? Any applicant would not like to address or would like to address this?
No, I'm good.
Okay, thank you. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ordinance 15-23 will go to the March 20th board meeting with a positive recommendation. Next is ordinance 16-23, text amendment to the zoning code site development plan review procedures and standards to add a sidewalk requirement. We have a motion and a second, please.
So be it.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Tricky and a second by Mrs. Bailey. Can we have staff report, please?
Yep, this is just a text amendment to amend the section of our zoning code where we list the situations where site plan approval is required. We want to add it so that it is required that anytime a sidewalk is being removed, replaced, or changed in any way at multifamily, commercial, industrial, or office properties, it would require site plan approval. This will ensure that these sidewalks conform to both ADA requirements and any of our zoning requirements that may be applicable. The Planning and Zoning Commission voted to recommend approval of this text amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any discussions or questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ordinance 16-23 will go to the March 20th board meeting with a positive recommendation. Next is ordinance 17-23, adopt official zoning map for the village of Machesney Park. We have a motion and a second, please.
So made.
Second.
We have a motion by Mrs. Bailey and a second by trustee Kidd. We have staff report, please.
Yep, every year the board needs to officially adopt our zoning map. The map in your package shows the zoning of all parcels in the village as of the end of 2022. The Planning and Zoning Commission voted to recommend approval of this map, and we're looking for the committee's positive recommendation as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or discussions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Ordinance 17-23 will go to the March 20th meeting with a positive recommendation. Next is reports. Does anyone have reports? Seeing none, public comment. Is anyone in the audience would like to address this committee? Seeing none, make a motion to adjourn.
So made.
Second.
Have a second or motion by Mr. Kidd and a second by Mrs. Bailey. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. We are adjourned. Thank you.